working with first grade and making a ladybug out of a rock. In fact, the rocks we're going to be using are river rocks like this, and we're going to be turning them into a ladybug. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm very excited for us to get started, so let's get started. Okay, for today's class, you're going to need, of course, a river rock. And a river rock is a rock that's actually been kind of turned and tossed in a river, and the water has gone over and smoothed it so that there aren't any sharp edges. So we got these at Folsom's, and they were kind enough to and generous enough to give us a rock for you, so you all will get one of these. And one of the first things you want to do is take your scrub brush, my little doodle brush here, and water, and scrub all the dirt off and wash it off real clean with soap and water, which is what I did with this. And then you're going to also need a cup to put your paint in, or a couple of cups. And you're going to need red paint, black paint, and white paint, and a hair dryer. Hair dryer, if you don't have one, you could just let things air dry, but for the most part, this actually quickens the process. And I'm going to take the hair dryer and turn the hair dryer on. I can continue to paint a little bit, but mostly what I'm trying to do is to dry the rock so that I could flip it over. Because if I flip it over now, it's just going to come off on the paper. And it still might a little bit. I love that company. Okay, I'm going to flip this over because it's dry now. I'll flip it over one more time. And I'm going to check those edges. And get those edges on purpose this time. And continue to do the final coat on this side. Now, 2 coats is enough, but if you really want to get great at making this a solid color, 3 coats would always be the best. You always paint 3 coats when you want something really solid. So I'm going to hurry up and do that with this. I'm going to put a couple of more coats down, and when I come back, I'll show you what else we're going to do. Now we're going to wash our brush with water, but you want to give it a good shampoo, so just like we do our own here. So we're going to add soap to it in the palm of my hand. You could also wash your hands at the same time, like you do several times a day. And wash all of the paint right out. You can see it's even sticking on my hand. And so the brush is really nice and clean. It's a little stained by the paint, but it's very, very clean. And my fingers need to be washed, so I'll wash them now, which is a good thing to do during this time that we're isolated at home. They're asking you to wash your hands several times a day. When you wash your hands, you want to go like this. In between your fingers, you want to go like this. You want to go like that to get the outside of your hand, and you want to go out in the back and get each one of your fingers, just like that. Sometimes you want to use a scrub brush, or you can use your fingernails to get the paint off if it dried. And it comes off, won't come off in a Band-Aid. And that's a good way of doing it. Nice clean. So the next color we're going to use is black, and we're going to do the head. So when you look at your rock, you take a look, you can see that I need a little bit here, but so this could be the bottom of my rock. The top looks pretty good. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the head. I'm going to make this the head. So you want to do it in one, you want to have a lot of paint on your brush and do it in one clear stroke going right across with a nice hard edge. Make sure your brush is very dry because you don't want to add any water to this paint. It takes forever to dry when it's wet. And it looks like that's exactly what happened, of course. So I'm going to take this brush, try to get all the water out of it. See, it will actually bleed like that if there's water on the brush. And then I'm going to continue. Things happen. You just kind of have to work through them. And I'll have fingerprints all the way through this now because I got black on my finger. So you have to be really careful that you don't miss that step like I did. I thought this brush was nice and dry, and it's not. And there's the head of my ladybug. It's looking pretty good. And then the next thing you want to do is to take your brush and you want to do what I call the Y. You want to have it straight up and down. Let's put it down here so you can see it. So if I put it right there, and you are going to go about that far and then stop. Make sure this brush is straight up, and then you're going to come out here, and then you're going to come out so that it looks like an upside down Y. And on the bottom, you're going to continue to do the same. And what this will be is the two wings. Just as carefully as you can. And then you join these two right here with a pattern that's a little bit like a scalloped shape. And make sure it goes from one side to the other. And then we'll let that dry. And I'll show you the next step. And on the opposite side, you could do the same thing. Do these scallop shapes. I'll put one right here. This is the underneath part of the ladybug. That's kind of good that things don't have to be too perfect. Okay, the next thing you want to do is the dots. And when you do the dots, you're not going to use a whole lot of paint. You're going to use the corner of your brush. And you're going to make a dot here. Dots don't have to be perfect, so don't try to correct them. And what I do is I go in one direction and then the other, and I leave it. I'm going to do one here. Dots are really fun to do. One there. Try not to make them line up in a row either. You can make them big and small, or generally they're about the same size. And then we're going to take our trusty hairdryer and we'll dry them. Starting to look already like a ladybug. Okay, now we're going to do the white, and as you can see so far, I've done the back or the underneath side of the ladybug, and I've done the top part as well. And so this is the better part, so I'm going to make that be the top. And we're going to use a pencil. So the pencil is going to be the painting tool instead of a brush. Make sure you don't leave your brushes around to dry hard. Make sure you wash them every time. You're not going to need a lot of paint, just a little bit of white on the end and the tip. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to do what you call drip. And I'm going to put where my eye is going to go right here. And I'll put a little more paint on it. And then I'll put one where my eye is going to go here. And then from the eye, I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. And that will be the antennae. And if it needs more paint, I'll go back. And then I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, that's the antennae. And that's all I really need to do. If it feels like there's a little bit of red showing through, then you can add a little more paint. And then make sure you wipe it off of your eraser, or your eraser won't work. Okay? And then I'm going to dry it. Now the last thing we want to do is use, this isn't white paint, but this is actually Elmer's glue. And I'm going to add some glue to the paint where my eyes are going to go only. I'm going to add some glue there. Now Elmer's glue is also made of a plastic, so you don't want to get that on you either. And I gave you guys bigger eyes, but I'm going to use the smaller ones. And I'm going to put googly eyeballs on there, ones that actually move. And that completes my wonderful ladybug. Another alternative you can do is to take the silver or the colored pipe cleaner that I have given you, and you can twirl this around your finger like this, and twirl the other one, and you pull them apart a little bit, and you can make kind of antlers that way, antlers or whatever you call them. They're not really antlers, but they're, I can't think of what they're called. But they can also be glued down, and you can do that if you like. I think I'll do that to mine. That would be a good alternative if you didn't want to do these. But I'm going to glue this down anyway, because I think it kind of looks cool. Now, when you're using this, you want to wait. This is Elmer's glue, so you're going to want to wait a little bit and hold that down for quite a while. And you should count to 60. 1, 2, 3, 58, 59, 60. And when you pull your finger off, you want to actually take it off that way. Don't pull up straight. And you have it pretty well glued down. Pretty well glued down. I think I moved it. And then let that dry overnight, and you'll have antlers or feelers or whatever these things are that help them to see in the night. And it's basically a ladybug made out of a rock, and very easy to do. Many videos out there to show you how to do it. Mine is a little different. It has these antennae, and it also has painted ones as well. You can make yours a little different as well. I'd love to see yours. So if you could email me a picture of your art, I would love that. It's been wonderful doing artwork with you. Have a great day, and if you see these guys in your house, don't kill them. They are actually wonderful for gardens. They kill a lot of bad insects that eat your plants, and they are a friend, and they don't bite. See you next time.